In this video, we're gonna tell you what are the top nursing interview mistakes that you should avoid on your next interview, so we're sure that you're gonna get that next nursing job. Hello everyone! It's so nice to be back in the YouTube world. My name is Grace again from thepinaylondoner.com, and I am a Filipino expat who makes videos about living in the UK and everything about nursing related as well. And here with us today, I'm so glad that my friend here joined me on the cast with Daphne.
Hi everyone.
So Daphne makes videos as well on tips on making CVs or how to get here in the UK. So you can check her channel in here if you want to know more tips. Alright, in this video we're gonna tell you what are the top nursing interview mistakes that you should avoid on your next interview, so we're sure that you're gonna get that next nursing job. If you like this kind of topics, please make sure to subscribe in my channel and hit that notification bell as well. Give it a thumbs up, and I hope that you're gonna get some contents out of it. Alright, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's get cracking.
Let's get cracking.
Well, one that comes to mind readily is showing up late, not being on time for the interview. This speaks volumes about you as a person. It also speaks to the respect you give to your interviewers and to somebody potentially that's looking to employ you. They're already wondering if you are that person that's going to have issues with late coming to work. So to avoid this kind of mistakes, some of the things you might want to do is to turn on your notifications or set a reminder, something that's going to remind you in advance. Allow enough time for your journey if you're going to be traveling to the interview destination, and as well as in the time of virtual interviews. We need to factor that in actually, because not all interviews are going to be in person, given the context of COVID.
Yeah, just to have the time for you to be calm and collected, you don't want to be rushing, it's gonna make you nervous. Like, you need to be at least at peace and have a little bit of breathing in and breathing out. So do not be late. And it brings me as well to my second point. The top nursing mistakes that we should avoid in the interview is to dress appropriately. Dress smartly, because I hate to say it, but really first impressions last.
As long as you don't get the second chance to make the first impression, look the part.
Yeah, if you did prepare for your CV very well, check the link here from Daphne. you got into that part already, so you wanted it to be, the full 100%.
Absolutely.
So you can just, avoid wearing jeans. Blazers is a good idea for women, and you can check Pinterest as well. Just key in
lots of great tips.
Yeah, lots of great tips. And light makeup. Brush your hair nicely. These little things that really matter.
They go a long way.
Yeah, actually.
The point number 3.
So, just a change of environment for us to continue on the top nursing interview mistakes. Number 3 is talking badly about your previous employer.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you've asked this kind of questions before. What do you think?
It's not an uncommon question.
Yeah.
It does come up, and I think the idea is not for your current employer to see what history you have with your previous employer, but rather to see the kind of your character, the kind of person you are. Are you going to badmouth your previous employer, or will you find a constructive way to contextualize what went down? If there was something unpleasant that happened, perhaps it's not even a platform to talk about the unpleasantries of the past. You are here for the new job. So speak about your previous employer in a positive light, even though you might have some things to say that are not so complimentary about them.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, because they might think that, this is how you will talk about them as well in the future.
Absolutely.
Should you become their employer.
Don't you?
Yeah, so it's just about psychology and reading what kind of character you are as a person.
Absolutely.
Right? So the next point is about lying on your interview.
Oh, yeah.
You might assume that you have already those experiences laid out on your CV, and you might think about, oh, maybe I should bring this up or exaggerate it a little bit. I would suggest you not to do that. Because at the later part, they will have situational questions, especially clinical ones.
Absolutely.
So you
We
don't
need to back up your
exactly,
facts.
exactly. So please don't lie, because for sure they will find out. And
Whilst embellishing is acceptable
Yeah.
on one's CV, lying is a different thing altogether.
yeah, it's just a red flag when they see that you're a dishonest person, and it questions your professionalism, isn't it? So might as well, if you've got some achievements that you want to show on those questions, just say the objective part, or it brings me into my next point actually.
Absolutely.
When you're asked about a situation, when you answer the things called behavioral type of questions, these are questions like, tell me about the time that you had a conflict with a MDT. So you don't want to exaggerate how you acted up or how you saved the day, become a hero.
This is a good time actually to adopt that STAR format we always talk about, the situation, task, action, and the result thereof. So this would be a great time for you to speak specifically to what happened and what was the task at hand, the action you took. Perhaps sometimes not just you alone that needs to take the credit. You could say, as part of the team, this is the role you played amongst the bigger team, and this was the achievement, the result that was achieved from that action of acting as a team together. Sometimes it was a solo heroic act, yes. Do shine the light on yourself, but be mindful of taking all the credit when you shouldn't do. But the point is just to keep it objective and not providing too long a response for this kind of question. It's open-ended, you could go to town for days, but just narrow yourself down by using the STAR format when responding to such an open-ended question. I don't know if you have anything more to add.
That exactly leads me. You've mentioned about the STAR method, which is quite popular and very smart way to restructure your answer. It's one way for you to avoid the next nursing interview mistake, which is about talking too long or providing a lot of information which is not needed.
Good point.
You're only there for an interview for 1 hour, and you don't want to get those 45 minutes in the first question. And you might find yourself answering, putting everything out there and not even leaving any answers for the next question. So be concise.
Could that be seen as a sign of nerves as well? If somebody's talking too long and necessarily babbling on, it's also not a good thing, is it?
Yeah, it's not, because it's like you haven't prepared for it at the same time as well. You're getting everything around the sun. So, just be concise and actively listen. That's one thing. You need to actively listen to what they're asking. For example, when you're underprepared, that's one of the mistakes that you want to avoid, to be underprepared.
Correct.
Yeah. When they ask you, throw you some situations, and you don't know what to answer. So
end up clutching at the straws really and pulling in stuff that is not really relevant to that specific question you've been asked. So preparation is key. This speaks to preparation.
Yeah. Or it can be in the other way as well. You can be too over-prepared.
That's another side.
Yeah, you can be over-prepared.
True.
Like, okay, so I am applying for a nurse manager position. So probably these are the questions that they're gonna ask. So I'll prepare a lot. You're too prepared that you prepared a lot of script. I wouldn't advise you to prepare script. I would advise you to prepare answers based on the job description, but on a bullet point form. In that way, you can your personality is gonna shine.
Comes through.
Yeah, your answer is gonna be genuine, and it's not gonna be robotic.
Authenticity comes through.
Yeah. Which leads me again to another point, which is kiss on puffing. Another point, which is if you're too nervous, try as much as possible not to show it. Smile as much as you can, because you bring positive energy. You want to communicate to them that you're excited for this interview. You're excited to work for them, and
What other body language can you think of? I mean, what comes to mind is also the whole thing of folding arms. Whilst it's so comfortable to talk to interviewers like this, it also sends a message of somebody who's really closed up and not really open. So be mindful of what you do with your hands during an interview.
Yeah, or slouching as well, like this. So you're not confident enough, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's quite interesting how all nurses and healthcare assistants, probably with a lot of experience already, nobody can question your ability. But when it comes to a nursing interview, we lost all that confidence.
Yeah,
so we should take time to you prepare, mentally prepare when you go for interview, like, you know, communicate that confidence at the same time.
Especially because they're so nerve-wracking anyway, interviews by nature, they're so nerve-wracking. So having a good buddy to practice with and have feedback from your friend, a family member would also be another great tip.
I've been fortunate enough, you know, in the position that I am currently working at, to interview some of the new graduates. Nice. So sometimes when I see a person that smiles, sometimes jokes when appropriate, you know, it gives me a good feeling.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm so keen to what that person is gonna say now, rather than a person who's too
closed up and
tense. I feel like I'm gonna look after her mistakes.
As well as the person who's being overly familiar at the interview, the other end of the spectrum, overconfidence or over-familiarity.
So just be prepared, you know, it's not only about the answers, it's about how you present yourself as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. You couldn't have said it better.
The next is
talking about the money, the ching-ching. Show me the money.
Yeah, of course, nursing is about caring and we need money, but peace.
This is hardly the time to be talking money, really. If anything, you could bring to the table the values and the assets and the skills that you are likely to bring, because you will get an opportunity, especially where they say, Grace, do you have any questions, Grace? This is where candidates usually fall into the trap of asking about the money. So try to stay clear of that mistake.
Your job at the moment is for them to know that your knowledge, your ability, and your attitude fits for the job. You know, so that's the first job. When you secure that, then that's about the time that you negotiate your terms, right? And you talk about money, but please hold off for a second.
Hold off until it comes up. If they don't bring it up, don't bring it up.
Exactly.
Yes. And most jobs in the UK come up with a scale anyway, the agenda for change scale. So chances are by the time you get the job, you get shortlisted, you will be told roughly how much you're likely to earn. So there's no point bringing up this topic, I don't think.
And when they ask you as well, you know, at the last of the interview, do you have any questions for us? So it's a mistake for you not to ask questions.
Oh, so you can't not have questions.
Yeah, it's a bit abnormal for you not to have questions because you're about to.
You should be interested.
Yeah, you should be interested. You know, you should be asking about what is the flexible work policy,
the
what
career
is
development
the career
pathway.
Development. So it gives the employer an idea that you're moving ahead.
Your intention is to stay as well. You want to know about the pathway for development, growth, and so forth.
So those are the things that we strongly advise you not to do, those nursing interview mistakes, for you to make sure that you get a proper job or your next dream job in healthcare.
We can't wait to have you in the UK if you're outside of the borders. So make sure to apply these tips as you go for interviews. Wishing you the very best.
Thank you everyone, and see you on the next video.